I would have, and I see in his paintings, like a kind of like a really deep nostalgia there. The fellas in the caps, like the fellas in the caps are almost all gone, and you never ever, you don't find that dream world in a way. Like we were very privileged to have been through that revival. Maybe it's because I understand him. Maybe it's because I know his painting from the very, very earliest stages when he was painting, when he gradually evolved from his earlier, mythological topics. But mainly, it's mainly his images of music. I mean, they really talk to me. Like, I feel his musicians. They're all men, almost all men, which is, maybe that's what it was like certainly in the 1960s and early 70s. It was mostly men playing music. That feeling of a kind of a dark thing about their music. They're not real. They're kind of sketches of people. But I feel the music in them. I can feel that, like that absolute abandonment or giving yourself to music in his paintings.
Well, after the kaint Eithne Valley like tá Niall agus Cillian, tá Cíhín agus Larkin agus Moya agus is ceoltarí iad agus Mihéan sa rang pibreachta le Cillian Hosimid Birch ag níon amháin agus níos tá session ag greithú síl garamúil mar cheoltar mar atá Niall agus Cíhín agus is dóthe gur bromtanas ínta a thug Brian agus Eithne dífasan is dóthe nar híl siad riú an áil go mbeadh siad mar cheoltarí garamúla nor a hosi siad ag chase a cheol dífa.
Sin gwyl si Jackar mar hynch mar ceoltar profesiwnta ach war mojin le alientor sa cha agus sin dói a tógu iad ni ro an erid sin ar igad riú sa cha so bías acu ce go Jackar agus a bhéid sé ni ro salary mísú le chatas Jack ná gab mar sin. Wydyd lig a hansort ceol yn coigar acu wynch fi bont acu le rock groupie agus groupie jazz agus groupie classica agus a hansort rod nar bisiad ar scoil. So fi sort of reim sé lehan ceol ar bon acu ar bisiad nes oige.
I definitely liked it from day one, and there was times I probably wasn't playing that much, but I always loved the pipes, and I never wanted to stop playing the pipes anyway. And there was always pipes, and the piping classes were actually in the house. So I mean, I remember myself and Tiernan thinking, taking lessons with my dad in the house, and we were always going to concerts and going on trips, even playing from a young age and playing in little bands that my mother would put the music together for. And like as I say, I don't really remember there not being anything going on,
Hiu an Alin agus an ceolde is cyfan lumsa gol hig na rangan ceol agus vi na rangan is studio sega agus vi to gol ag liam o picture wang go picture ela cosciam haar na picture shot le golas sa hig na rangan agus vi an so togu mu just so here in rang leis an Alin more could than ceol.
Nor a fúsíd agad. Caisiad an agad sin ar an ceol ar pipes agus, bhí siad cótachad an ceol agus cótachad the mission saco agus tá mission aco.
Whatever gene that it takes to make you want to play the pipes also involves a certain amount of madness, and that sort of madness seems to have spread itself around all the different sorts of pipes. Then my mother came up with this idea of having a piping festival that would celebrate this character called William Kennedy, who was a pipe maker, a Milne pipe maker from just outside Armagh, a place called Tandragee.
na bhí muid géirí féile bag a chuir le chéile smuid muid gur cheart cummarú anywhere. Agus dús níor bháin na déir a ceangal bag a dhéanú le pebraí ó Albain agus ó Hasan agus ó Éireann. Ach, you know, dá sé.
Over the years then, like the pipers from just all parts of Europe, Eastern Europe, Sicily, Sardinia, Spain, and then more exotic places recently like Algeria and Iran, and it's a pretty wild weekend, like, you know.
Sílim gur foran mai mud tá sisna mai January rudí airthe agus tá mis mai January rudí eile. Agrion mission ar anganí agus tá mis mar sort bháinisteir ar anganí ceáil agus sin rud tá mis mai January rudí déhaideachas agus teagas agus mar sin dó.
Especially going back to the early days, they took children that never would have been able to go anywhere. They took them all over Ireland to play, they took them to Europe. And, you know, expose people to an awful lot of things that they never would have had a chance to do, you know.
I get into a class. It's exactly as I always was. I'm highly motivated. I really get an awful lot out of teaching, and out of particularly teaching pipes. You know, there's hard work involved, you know, and commitment, and I mean, the bottom line, say, if you are teaching or if you do undertake to do something with children, is that you have to be there every week. A week is a long time in a child's mind, and if you miss a class, it's a fortnight, and in a fortnight a child can suddenly decide to take up tiddlywinks or swimming or anything under the sun, you know.
We were taken along to athletic classes when we were very, very young and stumbled into music that way. And the two people that were kind of parallel in the two worlds that I had was sport and music, and it was Brian and Eithne. I also was lucky enough to have Eithne teaching me at Christian Brothers, so I had her as my music teacher inside, and you know, the camaraderie of the sloga groups. And then Brian and Eithne would take some of the kids away for trips abroad. We went to London for the Fanfare for Young Musicians. And I guess somewhere along the way, maybe up on a stage somewhere, it suddenly the penny dropped, and I realised that you could make a living and you could go and people would enjoy listening to you and see the world. I always had this, you know, fascination with travel.
Tá sé tábhacht go mbíonn meas acu ar na ceoltóirí mór le rá, you know, agus go méid sé dabal d'éisteach le agus caint le agus ceisne chuir orthú agus senim le cumáid le bheith dearach ag fólam tunes mar an aon daoine agónaí.
We tended always in Armagh to play a lot together. We definitely didn't on the pipes go for the solo recital approach all the time, and if there's anything about the style of piping, I think it may come from that. Like, my mother was always putting together groups, and we didn't have an approach where you couldn't play that tune because that was a fiddle tune or that was in a funny key, you can't play in the pipes. You just played it, and that was inbuilt from an early age.